Thank you, Brenda. That was amazing. Personally a fan of the Beatles, so. Good morning. Happy Easter. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fayetteville. My name is Gabe, and I run cameras for the AV team and attend RE. You may see me back there every once in a while. We got Zeke back there, new recruit, fresh meat. Unitarian Universalism is a religious tradition that values freedom in religious thought and journey. We uphold the unity of our interconnections, we affirm the universality of love and hope, and we welcome you, whoever you are, at this moment and wherever you are in your spiritual journey. For those of you joining us online, welcome. If you are new, please check out our website, uufayetteville.org, for more information. For those of you visiting us for the first time in person, you'll find a visitor information card in the seat back in front of you. We'd love for you to fill out one of them so we can get you on the email list and keep you informed of our events. Later in the service, we will have a time where you're invited to come forward and drop a stone symbolizing your joy or concern into our bowl of water. If you have a joy or concern you'd like to share, we invite you to fill up one of the yellow cards you will find on the seat back in front of you. There's a place on there to indicate if you want your joy or concern shared aloud, or if you want it to be confidential and shared only with the leadership. If you fill out a yellow card, you can bring that forward at that time. If you are online, you may write your joys and concerns in the comments there at that time. Please note that those comments will be public. If you have a need for hearing assistance, our AV tech in the back, David, can help you with that. Children are always welcome in our service, but there is a staff nursery available downstairs. And if you prefer, there is now a speaker in the foyer, so you can sit with your child and still hear the service. Industrial Revolution, people. Please remember to silence your cell phones as we enter into our service. Come into this circle of love and justice. Come into this community where we can dream and believe in those dreams. Come into this sacred space where we remember who we are and how we want to live. Welcome to the service.
For those of you that do not have a seat back in front of you, you are welcome to just get one from behind the seat, your actual seat, for those cards. Thanks, Gabe. You rock. Oh, good morning, dear ones. I am so excited to be here with you on my first Sunday in the pulpit. It's going to be great. Well, that's what I keep telling myself. I'm really, really thrilled to be here with you on this Easter Sunday. In the Christian tradition, the two biggest holidays are Christmas and Easter. These honor and commemorate the birth and the death of their number one teacher, deity, MVP, Jesus of Nazareth. All over the United States and the world, there are Christian churches that have cleaned their sanctuary and grounds perfectly, hired string quartets, purchased 1 million lilies, programmed extra services to make room for extra folks that come on Easter. Certainly, churches have filled plastic Easter eggs and scheduled Easter egg hunts. We did it too. Easter is a day where Christian churches show off to visitors and members alike. Gleamy, perfect, sparkly. And Christians on this day often wear new dresses and hats, their best suits, all pressed and perfect. And even non-Christians eat ham and chocolate and go to white sales at department stores, take time to visit family, and hunt Easter eggs. I am definitely not questioning another holiday. Everybody deserves another holiday. especially with bunnies and colored eggs and chocolate. I understand it's a big day for Christians and Christian churches. That makes sense to me. What I am questioning, though, is all the perfection. Friends, there was nothing perfect about the death of Jesus. As a matter of fact, it was ugly, messy, cruel. The story of Jesus' death and resurrection is found in all 4 gospel books of the New Testament of the Bible: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and in a few of Paul's letters, especially to that town called Philippi, the book of Philippians. I spent a lot of time the past few weeks cross-referencing these differing stories of Easter. And what I've learned for sure is that there was nothing perfect about the death of Jesus. For instance, when Jesus was delivered to the Sanhedrin, he was mocked and struck and spat upon. Peter, one of his favorite disciples, disowned him, told people he didn't know him. Judas, one of his disciples, the bad guy, betrayed Jesus, turned him in for 30 silver coins. And when Jesus stood before Pilate, Pilate asked the mob of people what to do with Jesus. Jesus was standing right there. They all shouted to crucify him. The governor's soldiers mocked Jesus and spat upon him and beat him. And Jesus' death by crucifixion was awful. Any death by crucifixion was awful. As the story goes, when he was resurrected on that 3rd day, Mary Magdalene, one of the closest people to him, modern scholars say she was his lover. When Mary Magdalene saw him, she didn't recognize him. She thought he was the gardener. Now, no smack talking about gardening here or gardeners. I'm just saying that when she stood at the tomb that first Easter morning, the Jesus she encountered was not a spiritual, gleaming, shiny, perfect being. She thought he was a gardener because he was really dirty. But the dirt underneath his nails and on his face and on his body was not that of a garden. It was from his experience of crucifixion. Not perfect. This story is messy, it's dirty, it's tragic, it's sad, and it's about as far from perfect as one can get. So what's the deal? How does a new dress or pressed suit have anything to do with this story? I guarantee that the churches of our Christian siblings aren't covered in dirt today. And I've been thinking about this for a while, y'all. Why all the perfection? What's that about? Darling Cook family, will you light our chalice today?
Hello. If you guys will say the chalice words with me as Dustin lights it. Love is the spirit of this community, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in truth, and to help one another. Thus we do covenant together.
Please rise as you are able, and let's sing together hymn number 38, Morning Has Broken.
Good morning. I would like to extend a special welcome to families with kids who have joined us today, especially for the first time. My name is Stephanie Bentley. I'm the, I started to say school counselor. That's my other job. I'm the lead children's teacher, and we just had so much fun this morning with some extra kids, and I'm just excited about the egg hunt this morning too. So mostly right now I'm excited about this book that I discovered as I was looking for the perfect book for our service today. You'll want to remember this one. It's very UU. It's called The Antlered Ship, and the author is Dashka Slater. The day the antlered ship arrived, Marco, the fox, wondered about the wide world. He had so many questions, like, why do some songs make you happy and others make you sad? Why don't trees ever talk? How deep does the sun go when it sinks into the sea? But when he posed these questions to the other foxes, they grew silent. What does that have to do with chicken stew, they would ask. So Marco went down to the harbor to see the ship. 3 deer greeted him at the gangplank. Marco wasn't surprised to learn that they were lost. We hope to hire a seaworthy crew, explained Sylvia, the captain. I'm afraid we aren't very good sailors. I'll join you, Marco said. He thought to himself, I will search the seas for foxes who know the answers to my questions. A pigeon named Victor volunteered along with his entire flock. We want to have adventures, they cooed. Welcome aboard, Captain Sylvia said. We're going to a wonderful island with tall, sweet grass and short, sweet trees. When we get there, we will eat a delectable dinner. But the voyage was more difficult than anyone expected. It rained. Waves crashed over the sides of the deck. Why is water so wet? Marco wondered. The pigeons were not used to hard work, like raising and lowering sails. After the first day, they just went below deck to play checkers. They just stayed down there. The deer worried about sharp rocks and fierce pirates and feeling seasick, and they huddled in the bow and waited for something to happen. After days of drifting and dining on crackers, the animals were damp and cranky. We should have stayed in the woods, Sylvia said. Deer aren't supposed to go to sea. We should have stayed in the park, said Victor. Pigeons aren't supposed to do hard labor. Marco eyed the deer and the pigeons. Foxes aren't supposed to be vegetarian, but we have to do the best we can. Ever try feeding crackers to foxes? That evening, Marco found a recipe book in the galley and cooked a warm and reviving stew. Should we look to the charts? He asked, after everyone had eaten. We might find adventure here, said Victor, and trouble here, said Sylvia, but we'll find the island with tall, sweet grass and short, sweet trees here, and perhaps foxes too, thought Marco. Foxes with answers. As they plotted their course, the wind picked up, the storm clouds thinned into marvelous swirls. Raise the sails, Sylvia cried. In the morning, they came to the maze of sharp rocks, each one large enough to tear the bottom from the boat. But the pigeons flew ahead, tracing a path through the shoals and sharp rocks to the safety of the open sea. This is my favorite picture in the whole book. Can you imagine? The next afternoon, a pirate ship burst from behind a rocky island. Turn over recover your treasure, the pirate captain bellowed, or we'll put a hole in your helm. Ugh, which one of those are you most scared of? Ugh. The gator. What is that, a weasel? I don't know. Turn it. Lower the antlers, Sylvia commanded. The ships clashed and crashed and smashed until the pirates turned and fled. Everybody say hooray! Hooray! That evening, an island appeared on the horizon with tall, waving grasses and short, swaying trees. We found it, Sylvia said. We've triumphed, Victor cooed. Do you see any foxes? Marco asked. The deer grazed on the grass and nibbled the trees. The pigeons told stories of their adventures to a flock of admiring seagulls. Marco scoured the island for foxes, but he didn't find any. I failed, Marco told Victor and Sylvia. No foxes, no one to answer my questions. What questions? Victor asked. Marco took a deep breath. Do islands like being alone? Do waves look more like horses or swans? And what is the best way to find a friend that you can talk to? The last one's easy, said Sylvia. You make friends by eating together. I disagree, said Victor. You make friends by having adventures together. Maybe you're both right, said Marco, but I think you make friends by asking them questions. Well then, mused Sylvia, should we head home tomorrow? Or should we visit the island of scrumptious shrubbery? Are 2 adventures enough? Asked Victor. Or should we have at least one more? Is it better to know what's going to happen? Wondered Marco. Or better to be surprised? There were so many questions left to answer and so many more to ask. So in the morning they raised the anchor and hoisted the heavy sails. They knew now that the wind would come and go. The clouds would sometimes make marvelous swirls and sometimes make them wet, and that everything they hoped to find could be found aboard an antlered ship on the way to wherever they were going. The end.
That was awesome. Friends, it is time for our joys and concerns. This is a treasured time in our services where we connect with each other. You're welcome now to come forward and drop a stone into the bowl of water. Gabe will be holding the bowl of water. And you can turn in your joys and concerns card. And y'all, you can simply drop a stone. You don't have to turn in a joys or concerns card at all. Brenda. thanks, Brenda. That was beautiful. Aren't we lucky to have such incredible music here? So lucky. In our community, we make time each week to share pieces of our lives with each other. We do this because each person in this community has worth, and you belong, and you matter to us. Part of our community today is watching on Facebook. David, are there any joys or concerns from the Facebook community today? Not today. Let's drop a stone for the folks on Facebook, Gabe. Facebook family, you are important to us. We share our concerns and sorrows with one another today, knowing that hard times come into each person's life, knowing that when they are shared here, comfort is offered. And this is more of a need. We need 6 to 8 adults to help wrangle the Easter egg hunt after service today. Leanda is sharing, pretty please, come and help wrangle the Easter egg hunt. The more the merrier. Let's just all go. It'll be fun. Okay, so meet Leanda or Stephanie at the picnic table directly after the service, if you can help. We also share our joys with one another, knowing that joys too come into all our lives, knowing that together our voices can rise in a chorus of celebration and our joys can be multiplied. Not every joy or sorrow can be shared openly in community. Some must be shared eye to eye or held in the heart. We further recognize that some of us do not have voices with which to speak the depth of the pain or the height of our celebration. We make space each week for silent stone dropping, knowing the life and experience of every person matters, and together our ripples reach through each other and extend globally. Gabe, will you drop a stone or 10 for the joys and concerns that are held in the sanctuaries of our hearts? Thank you. It's perfect. Dear ones, let's take a few moments of silence and reflect on the joys and concerns that we have just heard.
Thank you. Now it's time for the offering. The important work of this fellowship is possible because of your generous contributions of time, talent, and treasure. Every contribution of every size is helpful and appreciated. As we pass the offering basket, we invite you to share financially. If you prefer, you may give at our website, by texting online, or mailing checks to our office. Will the hosts please come forward and pass the offering basket? Brenda, will you offer, I don't know, traditional Gaelic melody?
What a beautiful traditional Gaelic melody, Brenda. Thank you. Beloveds, I have a scar on my abdomen. It is 15 inches long, and I hate it. When I was 22, a doctor that had dementia but was still practicing cut me open, and he never worked again because he botched it so badly. I've been ashamed of this scar for almost 30 years. I've taken great pains to hide it from my friends and partners and even my bandmates that I have to camp so closely with at festivals. Do any of you have external scars that you try to hide? Yeah. Of course, we know scars aren't just external. You may remember me sharing about my schizophrenic mom and how she was abusive to me. That's also a scar. You can't see it, but I'll always be that person that was abused as a kid. And no plastic surgery can ever change that. Do y'all have internal scars too? I think we all do. Do y'all love me less because of the scar on my abdomen? No. Do you love me less because I was abused as a kid? No. Of course you don't. You are loved just as much or more for your scars too. But like me, do you sometimes try to hide them? Yeah. I find it interesting that in 3 out of the 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and John, the first thing Jesus does after the resurrection is run and show his scars off to his disciples. The Bible said that Jesus knew his disciples would know him by the scars on his hands and his side. He wanted them to know him. Isn't that kind of true for us too? People don't really know me until they know the things that shaped me into the human being that I am today, and that certainly includes my scars. You aren't truly known until you share the deep stuff. I try really hard to be sparkly and gleamy and spiritual and perfect, especially when I'm first getting to know people. Just like Christian churches on Easter, within me, within us, there is a belief that in order to be loved by people, we got to be perfect, sparkly, gleaming. It's not true. We love each other better and more fully when we know each other's scars. Your scars make you even more beautiful. I mean it. Your scars, your flaws, create the perfect you. And by telling you that, I have to apply it to myself too. By sharing my past pain, by letting you deeply know me, you can love the real me, not the shiny, gleamy, shallow me. Dear ones, you belong here. This is your place. You and all your scars belong here. You have a seat at this beautiful UUFF table. You hear me from the pulpit ask all the time, how can we make this tender place wider? How can we extend a more radical welcome? Part of it is about caring for each other. Part of it is trusting that we're cared about. Because you are. A lot. Even though I'm not a Christian, I came from Christian roots. Even though Unitarian Universalism is not a Christian religion, it came from Christian roots. Even though I do not personally believe in the literal resurrection story, I can absolutely get on board with the idea of resurrection. Personal resurrection as we overcome adversity. And as your minister, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that UUFF is having its own resurrection. We are in a period of growth, and it is beautiful. I look out and I see new faces. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are about to have a new member welcome ceremony to our UUFF community. This is very exciting. I want you all to take the time to get to know these new members that we are receiving today. They're amazing. Listen closely to them, and don't be afraid to share yourselves, your scars with them. New members and visitors, don't hesitate to share yourself, your scars with us. We will hold them close. Charlotte and Kate, will you come forward and let's welcome new members?
This is so exciting.
It's so exciting.
Good morning. My name is Kate Kowalski, and I am honored to be the president of the board of directors of UUFF. I also happen to co-lead the mindful discussion group downstairs the hour before this session, along with the wonderful Brooke Eldridge, but I am here today in the capacity as president of the board. And it really is wonderful to look out and see so many faces, familiar and new. And as Reverend Renee said, today is a really special day as we welcome new members to our community. Of course, membership is a big decision. We recognize that. And it's not just about belonging. It's a commitment to our covenant, to the vision and mission of this fellowship, as well as joining with all Unitarian Universalists in promoting our principles in the world around us. Now, Reverend Renee will say a few words.
Members choose to join for many reasons, including intellectual stimulation, religious education, emotional support, personal and spiritual growth in a communal environment. And there's lots of others too. Seeking to be a member of a Unitarian Universalist congregation comes when we want to give more and get more from life. It comes when we're ready to join a community of like-minded people who are exploring deeper meanings of life, of how we relate to each other and to the world around us. It comes when we look at our world and find it in need of peace and justice, and we believe that we can help. Knowing we'll have a greater impact acting in a community than by standing alone. As we welcome these new members into our community, I encourage all of you to reflect on your commitment to this congregation. Recall why you are a member. Think about how this fellowship supports your spiritual journey and how you can support other folks in theirs. How can you keep your membership as fresh as that day you signed the book? Next up is membership team member Charlotte Taylor.
I'm Charlotte Taylor, Chair of the Membership Committee. I'd like for Edith and Gretchen to come up with me so we can greet our new members that will be joining today. You may ask, or you may reflect back when you joined, how do you join our fellowship? The first thing is to come to a Being UU class or come from another UU church. We want everybody to understand how our fellowship is alike and different from other, perhaps more traditional denominations. We ask that you sign a pledge covenant form so you make a commitment of your time and your talents and your gift and your service to this fellowship. And lastly, you sign the membership book, which will happen today. We have several folks that are here today to join, but we have some that couldn't be here for a variety of reasons. It is Easter and some folks are traveling or other places, so they will join us and we will celebrate them in the Wednesday bulletin. So as I call your name, and I hope I've gotten everybody. Katie and Dane Wagner, I think y'all are here. And if you all will come up and just face the fellowship here. Andy Ugner. The Cook family, Chris, Dustin, and if Zeke is here as well. Is Barry Young here by any chance? I don't know that I saw you come in, Barry. These folks will be signing today publicly, but we also know that several people couldn't be here. Sandy and Glenn Vetter are going to be joining us. Y'all might know them. They've been coming recently. Mary and Cliff Beecham have been coming for years, and they have finally decided to join, and Cliff got the flu.
Oh, oh no.
And Matt Rich. All these folks have already signed the book or will be signing the book, so we're thrilled to have you all here today. Is that right? Okay.
Greetings to all of you. I feel like I want to come over here. Is that okay? Is that okay? Because this time I'm speaking to all of you. So glad you're here. By becoming a member of this fellowship, we ask that you share your time, your talent, and your treasure as you're able. We ask that you be curious about this place, about its people, and become part of building our vision for the future. Are you ready to commit yourself to this community, to Unitarian Universalism, and to its covenant of relationship? And if so, please say, I am. Thank you. On the table is our treasured book of members. It tells a long and really distinguished history of this congregation, a very human story of our covenanted religious community. It's a story that's still being written and that now you will be part of, and you're going to continue to help. When you sign, you signify that you are in covenant with us. And we have a certificate of membership and some welcoming gifts for you. So with that, oh no, stay here. Yeah, just stay here. You can move down this way. Oh, no, go that way? Oh, go by Charlotte. Are we all signed? That's wonderful. And now, I will ask that the members of UUFF please rise in body or spirit. As members and keepers of this congregation, you are asked to share with these new members the passion and promise that you bring to this community. You are asked to learn their names, their stories, their hopes and dreams, and to let them know yours. Make room for them at the table, the activity, on the committee, but be gentle and let them choose their commitments. Why does that make everybody laugh? Remember that they will need your care at times, and when you are in need, they will be among those who care for you as well. Understand that as they become more deeply connected to this community, their contributions will change UUFF. We will change, and that change will be for the better because of their presence. So members of UUFF, do you pledge to walk in covenant with these new members and welcome them into their new religious home? If so, please say we do. We do. And please remain standing.
Together, let us speak the words of welcome in your order of service and that are projected. In a
Covenant of fellowship and love, we unite to cultivate reverence
and thoughtfulness, to promote spiritual growth and ethical commitment, to minister to each other's needs and to those of humanity, to celebrate the sacred moments of life's passage, and to honor the interconnection with all at the heart of our being. Members, we welcome you to this fellowship with all our hearts. New members, we join this fellowship with all our hearts. So may it be. Welcome to UUFF. Y'all may be seated. Y'all may return to your seats after you get your hugs. And we have this traditional song that we sing after every new member ceremony. It's called "This House Is Yours." And the reason we sing it is because this house is yours. I told you to sit down, but let's go ahead and stand back up. This house is full of friends who give encouragement. This house is yours. It offers dignity, and here your heart is free. This house is yours. You are home. loudest I've ever heard it. Come on. Cook family, will you extinguish our chalice? Our new members are extinguishing the chalice, working really hard already.
If you guys will speak with me. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
The announcements are on the screen and in the order of service. I want to mention a few. Poetry Sunday is coming up. It's next Sunday. Yeah. It's one of it's my favorite service of the year.
Stop it.
It is. I love that. I have a thing for like learning new perspectives on life, new ideas, new ways to think, and we're actually looking for some new people. So I mean, if you like poetry, if you have a perspective you'd like to share, email Renee.
We have about 6 slots left for poems.
Yeah, limited time only, guys. We're going to be having egg hunt for all the kiddos after service. There she is. All right, she'll be explaining that, how that's going to work. Yeah.
If you have kids, take them to the picnic table out front. If you don't have kids, please be mindful traveling through the parking lot. Kids will be all around. If you have a kid that did not bring a basket, don't worry, we have extras. And Leanda, is there anything else? Yeah. I'll be there, Leanda will be there, and we need maybe about 4 other folks to just follow littles, especially. We will wait to start the egg hunt until parents with kids in the nursery have a chance to go downstairs and get their kids. So we'll wait like about 5 minutes or so to start the egg hunt.
I'm seeing some panic on Leanda's face. Could you raise your hand if you're willing to help? Raise your hand. Okay, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine, Leanda. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine.
And one more thing. In the spirit of welcoming new members, we're going to be having a new operations manager, Christina Maples, so we'd like to please welcome her.
Yes. And Charlotte Taylor's going to make an announcement.
And also, so you all can get to know our new members more easily and quickly, if all the folks who joined today after the service would come up front here for a quick photograph, smile pretty, and we'll have you in the Wednesday bulletin so we can get to know you better.
Is that it?
That's all I got.
Okay. You ready for our closing words?
Yes.
Okay. In all sacred literature,
The hearts of the storytellers are revealed in the stories,
their breath is felt in the words on the page.
and we may be touched or moved or stirred by their ancient art
And maybe we can glimpse a truth that they saw.
if we read closely and reflect on what we have read.
And we can get a glimpse of what later interpreters saw.
If we serve up their symbols as a separate dish rather than baking them into the story.
We need a chance to savor each perspective.
The art of contemplation is how art begets art.
It's how poems become songs.
How stories become statues and paintings and rituals.
One person's creativity awaken another person's creativity.
Life touches life,
Spirit touches spirit.
even down the long corridors of time,
The Easter story has echoed down the centuries in this way.
reverberating in sometimes surprising ways.
You have overcome adversity and have had personal resurrections.
UFF has overcome adversity and has had resurrections.
You belong here,
Even with all the scars,
especially with all the scars.
I belong here.
Yes, that's right. No matter what, you belong here.
Happy Easter, Reverend Renee.
Happy Easter, Gabe. Happy Easter, everyone. That's it. Thanks, y'all. Brenda.